and welcome to Gravitas Wins Conversations. I'm your host, Joseph Jude. Technology is the beating heart of innovation and progress. As technology executives, we are at the forefront of that advancement. The same technology that helps us grow also affects our mental health. To discuss this connection between technology and mental health, I have invited Ruby Grace, a licensed rehabilitation psychologist. She has extensive experience in understanding the intricate relation between technology and mental health. She has helped students and professionals to navigate this complex landscape. I hope today's conversation will help you at least a little bit more in handling technology in a way that it can improve your mental health. Before we jump in, a quick request. Remember to hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, and share this podcast with your fellow business leaders. Now, let's get into the interview. Hello, Ruby. Welcome to the conversation.
Hello, Joseph. Hi. Thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak. Yeah.
Thank you. Grace, let's start with this. What is the
Hmm.
definition of mental health?
Hmm. Hmm.
What are the fundamentals of a healthy mind?
Hmm. Okay. So we talk about mental health a lot these days. So mental health is how we act, how we think, how we feel. So this is how we have to healthily think, healthily act about it and all. But WHO has one certain set of definition about it. It is says that mental health is a well-being in which the individual realizes his own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, and able to make contribution to the community or the society where he lives. This is what the WHO says about mental health. But in a normal term, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. And as I started, it affects our, if it is not, we are not maintaining our mental health properly, it certainly affects our thinking, how we act, and how we feel.
Okay.
Now,
In our physical health, there are short-term sickness, some fever, some cold that comes in, but also there is a long-term sickness also that can come in. Say for example, diabetes or something like that, right? Is there something like in the mental health where there is a short-term some affect it affects our mental health in a short term, but also there's a long-term sickness in the mental health. Is there something like that?
yeah, it is related, right? Some people they have a long-term mental health because we call it as a psychosis. They have a long-term problem. They have to take the medication and proper kind of a therapeutic intervention and a proper family care. But yes, the long-term is also there, and the short-term for some period of time that the neurotransmitters is because as every illness, diabetes and everything, there is a biological changes happen, the hormonal changes happen. So in a short-term period, the long-term period, the neurotransmitters our brain get disbalances, right? So there is a chance of having a short-term mental health challenges also as well as a long-term mental health challenges.
Okay. Can you talk a little more about the short term, the mental health challenges? What are they? How do you recognize? Say, for example, if I get it, how do I recognize it? How do I deal with it? The short term one. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little more about that?
Yeah. So the short-term mental health concerns are like, for example, I'm getting anxious and sleepless nights and getting high palpitations, taking a lot of stress without any valid reasons because the exam is a stress for everyone, but taking as a stress it is not going to help. So these are small short-term mental health concerns. For the majorly we go through a lot of anxieties these days and the stressors, and because of this anxiety there are some signs. Many people they don't understand what is even anxiety, what is panic attacks. So for example, I am overthinking or I am been getting little restless, pacing here and there, overthinking, and then getting irrational thoughts also, and been sweating a lot, my hands are shivering and my legs are shaking. So these are the major signs. The mood, my mood will get fluctuated, I get irritated all the time. So these are the very small signs which we have to identify that yes, I am going through changes in my the routine of my normal life, so I should consult my closest friend or a therapist or a professional into it. So, but the sleeplessness is majorly a very great sign, and the mood fluctuations are. So, we have to be really very careful about it.
Okay. So we'll come to how do we deal with this
Hmm. Hmm.
mental short-term mental health
Hmm.
challenge.
Hmm.
Let's move on to how technology is impacting this mental
Hmm.
health. How can we
Hmm.
manage
Hmm.
tech in a way that we
Hmm.
are still productive,
Hmm.
but we
Hmm.
keep a healthy mind?
Hmm. So technology, it's a very good thing because we are using technology. Right? Without technology, we are this digital world. We are unable to even survive. Right. So everything there is a we have to use this mobile, that the laptop, each and everything. Right? But on the same time, overusing it creates a lot of, because we start depending upon it without even the smallest notification. It triggers, oh, I have got an email from my office, or my school WhatsApp group might have messaged me something, the parents usually, right? So this is we how we get a small, even from a smallest notification we get affected by. So mental health is greatly been affected by the overuse of our technology, excessive use of technology. And because of this information overloading, because in the website, not only using the mobile, not only using the laptop or technology, but what we are seeing it there, that is a second part of effect what we go through. Because the youth, there are a lot of information overloading, a lot of information on YouTube, Google. These days many technologies has been increased, right? Whatever we write, we are getting a lot of information out of it. But is there information what we are getting is valid or not, right? And am I getting a right information? That is also. So we go through a lot of what we call, we think of too much about it. Might be, for example, if I Google about I'm having a headache, so it goes through a lot of challenges: migraine, then tumor, then cancer. So however, we are reaching a point of anxiety only by googling or by looking into the second part of the technology which been affecting us, right? And feeling of missing out is also the major part, because if we post something on social media or something, if some we get, because usually these days the youngsters and the people, they post a lot on the social media. But because after posting we are constantly checking how many views we have been getting. This is called social kind of affiliation. Wow, how much I am attached to the society, why people are validating me or not, right? So we are looking into the status, how many views are there, and getting stressed. Oh, this person might have not seen me, right? This person saw me and did not respond me also, right? So this is a chain of anxiety which we are building by using the technology. So we have to always remember technology affects us in a two ways. One is direct contact with the mobile, laptop, the technology. We are wasting our time, majorly we are wasting our time on it. And the second thing is the information what we are getting is overloaded over there. And then the third part is getting kind of affected by our validations towards the society.
Okay.
Hmm.
A very valid point that you talked about,
Hmm.
the three things, the chain
Hmm.
of actions that
Hmm.
happened. I
Hmm.
want to touch upon the point that you mentioned a little bit
Hmm.
earlier, which
Hmm.
is overuse or excessive use of technology.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So this particular podcast,
Hmm.
this particular
Hmm.
podcast is primarily for IT
Hmm.
executives. Most of
Hmm.
the listeners will be working in an
Hmm.
MNC,
Hmm.
or they'll be working
Hmm.
for clients
Hmm.
abroad,
Hmm. Hmm.
which means they can reach us round the clock.
Hmm. Hmm.
We might be taking rest in the evening, I mean,
Hmm.
after 9 p.m., but our
Hmm.
clients are up and they are running their
Need.
business,
Hmm.
and they would ping us.
Hmm.
Now, how do we balance out doing our work, what we are
Hmm.
supposed to do,
Hmm.
plus also not being affected by this mental health? any
Hmm.
any any tips, any ideas how we can
Hmm.
handle this?
The For example, the time zones, because we have a different time zone, because we are many of our population of our India is working in a different time zone, right? So kind of taking a time out in the daytime, so that we are getting, because for a healthy human being, right, the sleep is very important, the rest is also very important, right? So taking a proper rest and the sleep in the time which they are getting, because again it comes in the technology, right? When we are little bit free also, we tend to attract towards our devices, whatever is nearby, right? The TV, the laptop, the mobile. But taking a deliberate step. Yes, for example, if you go to a doctor, the doctor says we have to take a 3 time medicines, right? We religiously follow it, though we know about the medicine or we don't know about the medicine, but we religiously follow. Why to wait till the doctor says that you have to do take the 3 medicines, right?
Mm.
When we know that I can, if I can take a proper rest here and there, maintain my sleep in the daytime, so that because I know my time zone is different, taking a little bit of self-care, because these days the digital technology also talks so much about self-care, right? So we have to be little more be conscious about our own mental health, and taking that one small step of taking a little sleep here and there, a self-care routine, and taking rest will definitely help us to wake up in the different time zone, and to maintain that rhythm, the circadian rhythm also, to have a good quality of our work experiences, as well as the maintaining the work life balance also.
Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, See, in India, especially in the
Hmm.
IT,
Hmm.
all of us are ambitious.
Hmm.
We want to build a very successful
Hmm.
career. Some of my friends are CEOs building companies. Building a company is not an
Hmm.
easy job, right?
Hmm.
So, how can executives and CEOs
Hmm.
keep their
Hmm.
mental health in check?
Hmm. So, because the CEOs have a extra kind of a expectations from the organization wherever they are working, right? So, kind of delegating their works and checking always about how much I am taking. Am I capable of taking all those the work which has been executed to me? So, little bit of balancing it out, and then delegating the work in a way that trusting someone else, and then delegating, because at the end of the day our family is there waiting for us, right? Our mental health is there, our physical health, because I don't want to touch this topic too much, but there is a psychosomatic thing also there. Because of taking so much of stress and anxiety, it reflects and manifests in the physical form, getting a lot of headaches, stomach upset, even skin allergies, rashes, right? Because we know that the level of, because with the CEO the level of expectations from the organization increases, but on the same time little bit here and there delegating the work, as well as maintaining a organized routine, that this much I can do in the kind of, when what we call as a time management, maintaining the time routine and delegating it to someone and trusting someone, and then asking for a feedbacks in between, that am I doing it, so that you know where you are, because we always go for a checklist, what I'm doing is right or what I'm doing is wrong. So kind of doing it will really help the CEOs and all. And at the same time, they have to be little careful about what they are doing in their routine, because every day, because of lot of works they are being, they don't know, even they miss their meals also in this process. They are having their lunch at 4 p.m., breakfast around 11 a.m. So kind of managing all those simplest thing what we can do, right? This will definitely, they will get a little help out of it, right? Once they follow the routine, it will be definitely easy for them, that this is my routine, I have to. And one kind of what you call little assertive, because for example there is a, you know that I can't do a meeting right now, right? Until unless you say it out, the other person is
Um,
not aware of it. So at least saying it out, I am little, I have to maintain my sleep and everything, we can have this meeting tomorrow, right? Or after 1 hour of I am taking rest, so that the productive of the work increase. Because always we have to look at the productive, even though we are giving a lot of quantity hours into works and all,
mm,
but until unless we get a profit out of it, there is no point in it. So that is very important, what the end goal has to be met, that is very important in it.
Absolutely. You have
Hmm.
touched upon the very right
Hmm.
point there.
Hmm.
Ruby, most of the companies, when they design
Hmm.
their offices,
Hmm.
they will take care of the physical safety,
Hmm.
air quality,
Hmm. Hmm.
fire safety,
Hmm.
lights, and so
Hmm.
on and so forth.
Hmm.
Some companies even go for gyms
Hmm.
for physical health.
Hmm. Hmm.
What steps should offices take
Hmm.
for taking care of the mental health of the
Hmm.
employees and mental safety also, mental health as well as mental safety?
So, because these days, what you call employment engagement program, every HR conducts. So, but on the same time, sending out a weekly email about mental health, the signs of anxieties, about how sleep is important, because a person will not directly come and tell that, oh, see, I am going through mental health challenges, I want a break, right? And I don't want to come to office, I'm going to see a professional. So no one comes and tells like this, right? So we have to be little, there are two ways. One is creating awareness about mental health in an organization, what wherever we are working. That is the number one step. And kind of managers, right, they can have a close observations the changes of their employees, because they are the ones who closely work with their employers. For example, an employee is getting irritated frequently, he is showing anger outburst in the he or she is showing anger outbursts frequently in the offices. Just having a small, not touching the sensitive matters directly, having indirect conversations with them, the particularly the managers, the supervisors, having a close observations will really work. And at least a manager or a CEO level person, they should have after every 10 days a small meeting, what is which is not related to a work kind of a thing, a small gathering, they're just having a conversation. No one wants to talk these days, they are all busy, but at least having a cup of coffee and having a conversations. And then I always believe in having an indirect conversation and going into the direct one. For example, talking about political background, a Bollywood movie newly released, right? So when we start simple conversations like that, everyone get involved in this conversation. And indirectly, when we are talking about something else, we can here and there bring a point. I am getting a by partaking a personal experiences that I am getting little sleepless these nights. And so automatically everyone around them, they will also, yes, my manager has started this conversation, right?
Hmm.
I can also start. So at least we come to know my employers, they are taking a stress at back at the home also about office. So we can immediately in a long way, right, taking a little stand about it, how we can take care of our employees, because they are working for our organization, our productivity, our this thing, everything is increasing up because of them. So only one or two things, creating awareness about mental health will be the major step. And then having a small observations after every 10 days or 15 days, a small meeting, having indirect conversation and getting into a direct conversations about it will work for the
Okay.
em-
On that same line,
hmm,
how can I, as an individual,
hmm,
keep a mental resilience?
hmm,
So, say, for example, for physical
hmm,
health, we always say
hmm,
go for a walk. Even if you're not able to do
hmm,
physical exercises, go for a
hmm,
walk,
hmm,
take enough
hmm,
drinks, water,
hmm,
eat
hmm,
healthy.
hmm,
So, even for physical health, there are few things that we say. And
hmm,
if you're not able to do a very good job of
hmm,
all of those kinds of, at least the
hmm.
minimal ones we say.
Minimum. Hmm, hmm,
Likewise,
hmm,
on the mental health front,
hmm,
what are the minimal things that I can do
hmm,
on a daily basis or on a weekly basis,
hmm,
something like that,
hmm,
to keep me mentally fit and healthy?
hmm. Yeah. So there are few things which we do it regularly. This will really kind of reducing our overthinking. I know it's very difficult because once it starts, it doesn't stop. But it is the thoughts are under our control, right? We can
Mhm.
definitely control it by doing a immediate diversion, right? We
Hmm.
always the therapists we believe in creating a diverting environment for the person who is there, right, who is having a mental health challenges, right? So first we have to really think about our overthinking, right? Because overthinking has a few stages, right? When we overthink, we assume a lot. When
Hmm.
we assume a lot, we get into a conclusion, yes, this is going to happen. Though it is going to happen or not, because of overthinking, we get into a conclusion, this is not going to work at all. It's to create a kind of, whenever we are getting overthinking is very normal. But the only one thing what we can do is, overthinking, when it happens, we have to do a immediate diversion. For example, if I am sitting in my office, I am started to get think about something else, right, about children's school or whatever else. If I know I started my overthinking, immediately what I have to do is stepping out of my office, at least go to a nearby washroom, wash my face, and then come back. During this process, the intensity of our overthinking and the chain of our thoughts is break. Right? So during this process, when we come back and sit in our workplace also or in our home also, the quality of our thoughts is automatically, it's not the same as we were doing it in the previous time. So it will definitely help. Then we can at least we can use our thought process in a rational way to do the works. And adequate sleep, as I mentioned earlier also, adequate sleep will be helpful. And connecting with some trusted people, because we always have one support system, but as our spouse, our children, our partner or our friends, right? So whenever we feel we are little low, or we might get into a kind of a mode of more irritated mode, or I am not feeling okay, connecting with those people, not really telling them, see, look, I am going through this, at least having a tomorrow, how are you feeling. So this conversation will definitely help connecting with our trusted people, the loved ones around us. And the listening to music always helps the immediate the relief what we are talking, right? Music always, and even expressive artworks are tremendous works in this kind of mental health concerns, because we always have pen paper around us, right? Even in what you call the laptops also, we do a lot of coloring activity these days. So because the colors, the creations, right, what we create, right, it automatically gives a lot of expressive in our way. So this kind of even mandala coloring also works, right? Simple artworks giving colors to our whatever we draw, right? In many organizations, they conduct coloring activity as a frequent activities also, right? Because the children also, they love in our house also, we can practice it. Coloring activities are very important for our expressive, because we are all going through a lot of things. When we express this out, it automatically gets suppressed. And what you call engaging in any activity, smallest gardening activity or pottery events, right? These are a very expressive ways to deal with our mental health. And for some, even journaling works, because whenever the thoughts are little disturbing, right? Because when we write it down, it is automatically, it is coming out of our brain system. So even journaling works a lot in mental health. But for example, very immediately, if a person is getting a panic attack, or traveling, so keeping a water bottle all the time, a small candies, because it always, so we have to soothe ourselves. And this panicky or anything happen in a room, we have to immediately open the windows just to breathe in, right? Because breathing technology is also very important while having our good mental health. Breathing and counting our breaths for 5 or 6 counts, and then blowing it out heavily, because we are taking the stress in and then blowing it out, the stress, we call it the breathing technologies also works in a short term mental health concerns.
Okay. So again, probably the answer is the same. In a short term
Hmm.
mental health
Hmm.
sickness,
Hmm.
how should I deal with it? Again,
Hmm.
should I
Hmm.
immediately go and, okay, I need to see a psychologist or a
Hmm.
psychiatrist? Should I
Hmm.
do that?
Hmm.
Or can I
Hmm.
handle it myself and see that this is the tipping
Hmm.
point, after
Hmm.
which I need to go and see
Hmm.
a doctor?
Hmm. Hmm.
What would be that?
See, these days mental health awareness is increasing. So everywhere, even in a organization, the schools, the colleges, they have a professional. But at least taking 1 or 2 days, right? Observing what, because in fever also we take the temperature at home, giving the first aids and all, right? Seeing that, why, if my 2 days continuously I'm not sleeping, 3 days it's been continuously I'm not sleeping, I am crying without any reasons for 1 or 2 days continuously, my emotional breakdowns are frequent, and my irritation is also increasing, right? So in case it is more than 4 to 5 days, right, it is at least we follow it at least more than 4 to 5 days, we have to consult a professional, at least not going to a medicines in an early stage, but consulting a professional psychologist who has a good experience in counselings and all, meeting them, they will automatically, they will guide them. At least few therapies will definitely help them out, because there is a lot of thing we can't share it with our family members, we always filter it out. Even the children, they think that I'm going to burden my parents if I share them. So this is the way when they go to a therapist, because the therapists are non-judgmental, right?
Mm,
And they are going to keep whatever they are saying in a confidential way, right?
mm,
So automatically the trust builds over that. If a person is non-judgmental and going to keep the things in a confidential manner, automatically trust builds, and the challenges whatever they are facing, they are easily to share it out, because the mental health blockage comes where we try to pile up our emotions, right?
mm.
So we have to very clear that we are not going to pile up our emotions, we are going to release it then and now, so that it is not going to affect my daily living.
Okay. Okay.
So consulting a professional will definitely work after 3 to 4 days or 4 to 5 days of having this kind of signs and symptoms when we observe.
Okay. Uh, on an ongoing basis,
Hmm.
how do I keep track of
Hmm.
what's happening on the mental health front? If you
Hmm.
said,
Hmm.
probably, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm talking about myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I was young, I didn't
Hmm.
even have a mobile phone. I
Hmm.
didn't even have a
Hmm.
phone.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then slowly phones came in.
Hmm.
They become smartphones.
Hmm.
Then social media came in, and
Hmm.
there was probably only Orkut. It was there.
I remember.
And then now there's a plethora of social media,
Social media,
and
true.
each of them have their
Hmm.
own. Say, for example, if I go to
Hmm.
LinkedIn, oh my god, my
Hmm.
friend got a promotion, I didn't
Fun.
get a promotion.
True.
And I
Hmm.
go to an Instagram, oh
Hmm.
my god, my friend went
Hmm.
for a vacation,
Hmm.
I didn't go for a vacation.
Hmm.
So each
Hmm.
of them have their own
Well, to own.
impact.
Hmm.
Hmm? And I may not understand how this
Hmm.
Instagram has an impact, how
Hmm.
LinkedIn is having an impact.
Hmm. Hmm.
How do I keep track of how I am
Hmm.
performing in the mental health,
Hmm.
and then also take a remedial steps?
Hmm.
How can I do that?
Hmm. Right. So majorly as we are focusing on technology, how
Yeah.
it has been affecting. So kind of digital detox these days we
Mm.
use it a lot. So at least it is. I know it's very difficult because the everything is we are dependent even for online payments and the emails from our office, the schools are everything is linked with this digital. But at least I believe in the notifications. Some notifications there are that are not necessary also. For example, in LinkedIn or in Instagram, we don't get any urgent messages or immediate ring. Right? So at least keeping that in a background, right? More clearing our notifications will definitely work. And digital detox, at least 4 hours, 5 hours. I know I can get a mobile call or something like that, but at least I am going to take it then when it is important for me. If my boss is calling, I am going to take it. Right? If my parents are calling, I am going to take it. Other than that, I am not going to touch my it. I know it is very difficult, but it can be possible when we really take a step to our towards our growth of our mental health. Right? This digital detox will definitely work, and keeping our gadgets right little bit far, because I always believe in baby steps, right?
Mm.
If we take a small step, see, I'm going to do it, I'm going to take little far away, right, where I have to get up from my bed or get up from my chair where I am sitting and go to take that mobile, right? Then automatically a person will say, no, I will stay back for 5 more minutes,
Mm.
10 more minutes. So keeping little away the gadgets will really help. While we are talking about reducing that technology and stress about which is related, and see, we are all looking for a validations, the social
Mm.
validation. So kind of having a self confidence, what I am doing is right, what I can do, I will definitely, I'm going to do it, right? Nothing is going to change. If the person is going for a trip, the person is going to get a promotion, what I am doing, I know I will go through it, right? That kind of mindset we have to create in ourselves, so that automatically the fear of missing out, right, the fear of that I am not going to get anything in my life, people around us are getting so much, I know my qualification, I know my skill set, right? I know my family background, I know where I stand. So this is enough for a person. So that kind of a mindset we have to always develop. I know it's very difficult, but creating from a foundation, from the alphabetical foundation, if we start, definitely mental health, we all can deal with it.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to finish with this particular
Hmm.
question, which is
Hmm.
again shared to me by a human resource
Hmm.
professional.
Hmm.
As you said, there is a increased awareness of mental
Hmm.
health,
Hmm.
both for
Hmm.
managers as well as
Hmm.
for team members.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what happens is somebody makes a mistake. I make a mistake
Hmm.
once. HR asks me what happened. I say
Hmm.
something. I was
Hmm.
not careful. Sorry, it
Hmm.
happened. Second time it happens. Third time it happens. Probably it is because I'm not focusing properly. I'm not putting forth my 100%.
Hmm.
But I use mental health as an escape route.
Hmm.
Now, when I use mental health as an escape
Hmm.
route,
Hmm.
now my manager doesn't know how to deal with it.
Hmm.
They panic. How should managers deal with this
Hmm.
whenever their members say,
Hmm.
team members say,
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
going through a mental health issue?
Hmm.
How do they identify something is an escape route, something is a real true thing that they are going
Hmm.
through, and they need to help them out? How
Hmm.
can they differentiate that?
There are one or two ways. For example, the HR, the organization should have a small training sessions with the particular managers, because if before they say something like that, right, before they come up with the small excuses, right, that I am having this, right, I am not going to do this, or I am because of this I was unable to do this work properly, right. So they are the proper small kind of one or two training sessions with the managers will help. And the second thing is, I we always believe in one-on-one conversation, right.
Mm,
If one person is continue one, so first time it happened, second time it happened, third time, right? Having a one-on-one meeting with that person, and not confronting that person, and having a very polite genuine conversation with that person, right. If you want to take a break, you take a break for 1 or 2 days, right? If the work is overloaded, please tell us, because it is affecting our the work environment over here. So this, the one-on-one conversation, and then particular training for the managers how to deal when certain people, because once they are aware of the mental health, right, the concerns, because some things are very general, we can see in the face and you can see, but in mental health it is very difficult to identify. These are very sensitive matters, so we have to be really little careful while labeling a person or getting into judgmental mode, but having a small one-on-one conversation. And I observe, I always been keeping observation, right.
mm,
Always observe, if you are going here and there, if a person is taking a lot of frequent breaks, having a frequent coffee breaks and not coming back to the place and working properly, right? Even we check at least last 1 week log about how the person was keeping a vigilant observations will definitely work for the managers, because managers go through a lot of, they have to report it, how they, why their employees are not working. So these three things will definitely work for them.
thank you. Thank you,
Hmm.
Ruby, for taking the time to talk to me about this mental health. This is a ever
Hmm.
challenging one, and with
Hmm.
the increase
Hmm.
of technology,
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
is only
Hmm.
increasing.
Hmm.
I finish
Hmm.
with three rapid fire
Hmm.
questions
Hmm.
to all my guests. And this has
Hmm.
nothing to do with mental health. This is a
Hmm.
common one that I ask. What's the kindest thing anyone has done for you?
This thing, my family. Yeah, I connect very well with my family. So that is the one kind of kindness I always look forward to, the kind thing in my life.
Okay.
Hmm.
This podcast is about leadership.
Hmm.
In that sense, can you please share what you think as the best leadership quality
Hmm.
and who has shown it,
Hmm.
manifested it in your life?
So, yeah. So the leadership is kind of encouraging and motivating their employers frequently, and recognizing their work if they are doing anything right, recognizing, appreciating, encouraging. These words will definitely, the employers will feel better, good to work with their leaders. And even in my workplace also, I am very happy with my the immediate boss. She always appreciates, encourages, and when we say to them, they bring new ideas, right, this automatically gives a lot of kind of energy to this person. This person automatically say things that, yes, I'm going to bring new ideas, right? So this kind of a what you call relation between a leader as well as the employers, the boss and their manager was definitely, I personally went through it, it really helped me a lot.
Thank you, Ruby. Yeah. Finally,
Hmm.
what's the definition of living a good life?
Gratitude, I would say. And I always believe in content, whatever it is we are going, nothing can be changed, right? We can live this life as a content living, and giving, thinking of a gratitude, right? It's okay, right? I feel gratitude towards life. So these are the two things is good for a life to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruby. That's a good place to end. Thank you, Ruby, for taking the time to talk to me about mental health. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Can I request you to share the key takeaways from our conversation? If you liked our conversation, please share the podcast with others. Have a life of wins.